If you really want to be the best, this is what it takes. Whether
Absolutely.
you like it or not, this is what it takes.
For me, I want people to remember me as that person that had limitless faith. And I believe human beings need connection with each other as well as like our spirit realm. So we either believe in ourselves or we believe in a higher power.
I don't think you could call another person your friend if you cannot be vulnerable with them.
Exactly. Generally, people like to feel good that they know something and they can share it, right?
Failure is there every single day of our lives. I think the biggest failure is not to fail. You need to fail. It's part of life. It's how you gain knowledge.
So I want to take that and to turn it into reality, and then have that reality of, we can call them achievements or changes or things I created, be an example for other people to say, okay, I can do that. If this guy came from nothing, if he went there, then I can do it. And that gives me a little hope. That's what I want to be remembered as. But also from a personal standpoint, I want to be that guy who's always plugged in with his family. And because I don't want to sacrifice family and community for achievement, right? I want that balance. And because I believe like that's the best. If somebody can do both, then that's it, man.
It's curious that you mentioned that, because there's something I have been recently hearing a lot from high performers, people who I look after in many ways, business-wise, that they always come across interviews and they always have something to say about the time they didn't spend with their loved ones. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they were so devoted to run their business, to make their businesses grow or their careers grow, that they neglected completely their families. And I believe that balance is a key word that you mentioned. I believe this world is a perfect balance, and it should be a perfect balance of good and bad, because we all have demons that we're fighting every single day. Mm-hmm. That's not a secret. We all have that, and we need to equip ourselves with tools to control them. Right. And that's the reality, you know. And some people don't want to talk about them. Some people want to talk about them. And when they want to talk about them, I think we should listen. And that's my standpoint. That's my that's my point of view. Now, what do you want Miami? How would you like Miami to see you? What's your expectation from this city to look at you and say, look, this is the guy who is coming, revolutionizing things, and he's coming with a different perspective. And what would you like Miami? What would you like the people that live here to see you and think about you?
That's great. And this is firsthand. I've been in a number of situations where I'm not in the canoe floating down the stream. I'll float down the stream with the current if I believe it. But if I don't believe it, I'm gonna figure out a way to go upstream. And I have, in the way I'm able to do that diplomatically, I don't want to boast here at all. Like, I'm being humble, but I have a way of doing it, from what people have told me, to where I don't like burn bridges and then things come together, to where the creation that's made after that, or the decision that's made after that, people really see it. They see it afterwards, and then they understand. Absolutely. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like, and that could be happening in a number, political or business, but you know, some people might run policy, and then they run on their campaign, and then once they get in there, they figure out, oh wait, this whole thing's it operates much different from what I was like intending, but I still have that agenda. But then the agenda gets messed up due to these outside forces, right? But me, I have ability to measure those outside forces, to where I'm like, all right, controllable, non-controllable. How do we control the non-controllables? All right, he's got to handle that, and then kind of like navigate through it to where the agenda gets taken care of.
And it aligns with your vision, I think.
So what people would think of that is they would see me as like, I don't really care. Like, I don't really let emotions or or unforeseen, or the uncontrollable powers really gauge. If I believe something needs to happen, and I'll listen to wise counsel, but if I believe it's going to happen, I'm going to make that happen.
And that's a good. I think that's what it takes if you want to create something for yourself, for your family. And it just takes guts. It takes time and that power within yourself of knowing that if you need to go against the current, you just need to go and figure out the tools along the way on how to do it. Because sometimes we're not equipped when the situation hits.
Absolutely.
But we just face it and we start realizing things along the way and we start gaining some knowledge, skills, etc. So I think that's a good standpoint. Now, we reach a point in the show where we like to play an interactive thing called the time capsule.
Okay.
What we do is we go over the past, over the present, and the future. That it's unpredictable, but we're dreamers. That's the whole point of making an impact, dreaming and dare to dream.
Okay.
So what I would like you to do is sharing more like an advice from the past, from your experience on what you early on in your life, you have many experiences that made the person that you are today. What's the biggest take that you take from those experiences?
My spiritual belief, man, really is just making me who I am, is just knowing what I know and being founded in it spiritually. And that was established by my parents who taught and incorporated that positive mindset.
Absolutely. Positivity.
Positive. Yes, positive mindset. We got to take negative thoughts, throw them out, don't let them stay in there. And yeah.
What about now going to the present? Valuable insight, especially that you recently did a huge change by moving to Miami. What's the most valuable insight that you take to get used to get up to speed to this new environment?
Get up to speed is we have to have a plan. I mean, I had the reason why I moved, and I had the transition into the move. That was all mapped out to where when the pressure hit me, I could like not clinching and not give up. But I need a plan. I need a, because the city's so big, there's millions of people through the Tri-County area. But even me with you, it's like, I need to meet with the right people and grow the right relationships and not just get consumed and like scatterbrained and just, going all over without a purpose.
Great. Yeah, an amazing answer.
Yeah, so where do I want to go? All right, what people are needed to get there? Where should I spend my time? Where's my balance coming from? Where's my recharge coming from?
Yeah, and having a plan, of course, will give you something that it will mitigate a little bit the risk of failure, which isn't there. Failure is there every single day of our lives. I think the biggest failure is not to fail. You need to fail. It's part of life. It's how you gain knowledge. But when you plan and you have something at least is expected and estimated within your numbers, within your mentality, you mitigate a little bit the risk of failure. And that's very important because it gives you more confidence.
Yeah, and then we can measure up on the plan. Because with the plan, I can check in on it. How am I doing? Where should I improve? And yeah.
Absolutely. Now, last but not least, the future, the unpredictable future. What do you think the future has for you? What's your dream? Not expectations, because that's a word I don't like to use for the future, but dreams.
I like that. Entertainment. I mean, yeah. I'd like to get to a spot one day to where I just bring a bunch of people over, come hang out. I'm cooking food. That's what the future has for me. Just like cultivating people, hosting things, and just really like gathering people together. I could see that. It's like that place that I haven't been to yet. Had chances to, but anyways, yeah.
It's
that's just an image. I'm just speaking image of something that kind of keeps me going of I'm not really sure how to define it, but that's generally.
No, it keeps you engaged because truly, when you have a purpose, when you're working and you're chasing something, you're gonna be attracting. I wouldn't say chasing. I would say you start attracting people who are going after similar paths and are trying to make something similar to what you have, or at least they have a purpose in life
Mhm.
that they feel you align with it. And having that purpose is a beautiful purpose, bro, because we humans, we don't like to be alone, and when it's really difficult to find people who we feel safe with, and when we find them, they end up being valuable friends. We end up doing businesses together, projects together. For example, the producer of the show, he's my friend from high school. We studied
That's
in
awesome.
high school, almost 11 years in high school,
Mhm.
and then he moved to Chicago, and I moved here to Miami, then I moved to San Diego, and then life just brought us together again and gave us the space for us to develop our friendship, and not only our friendship but our businesses,
Mhm.
our projects, and now we're bringing more people towards us so they can feel the energy and they can feel the positivity,
I like that.
and like
That's
you
a
came
great
today.
note. So jumping back to the question of something I've learned when I moved here and I'm working on a personal level, it's it's trust. So I have a let's see, trust. So there's a perspective of trust that I've carried with me. It's that I'm not going to open up, or I'm only going to let this person in that far because I have these secrets, or I felt like if I let them in farther, then I could be taken advantage of. But now I'm shifting. But what that created was shallow relationships and me only engaging up to what I wanted out of the relationship. But now how I'm living is I've always been genuinely curious in people, and I like knowing things, but I really like am opening up to a level to where I let them kind of like give them more trust. Now my perspective has shifted, and is needed to grow real relationships, right?
Trust is
Grow
needed
deep.
for
You
you to
got you
be
got to grow,
vulnerable, you know.
be vulnerable,
If
right?
you cannot be vulnerable with somebody, I don't think you could call a friend. I don't think you could call another person your friend if you cannot be vulnerable with them.
Exactly.
And that's something, especially in society, men are almost not allowed to do.
Hmm.
Be vulnerable. And I feel like when you have some friends and you meet some people that you could be openly vulnerable and all the emotional you want with them, you start developing an aspect in your life that maybe you were neglecting, the emotional side.
Hmm.
And I think that's beautiful, you know what I mean? Like when you start developing friendships and you're open and they share their problems or their takes of life, I feel that creates a space for us to
That's a deeper connection. Because I
create a
look at
deeper
it now, it's
connection.
like, okay, I'll go that deep, and I'll let them go that deep. I'll give them I'll give them five of the cards, but I can still hold the ace. You know, I could still say a bunch of information, but still hold that really key element. And I just have to carve that key element out that I'm going to hold back. That's the difference. And I'll give them everything a little by little, and then I'll watch what happens. Try not to analyze too much, just but watch the consistency. And from letting them in further, or people in general, we can see there'll be a trend, and then we could identify red flags along the way, but we got to let them in first. Let them in a little bit by little, build those relationships. Because again, I'm in Miami, I have to build new relationships, or otherwise it's all going to stay shallow. So, got to let people in. And then I could wean them out along the way by those red flags. But how I don't feel like I get taken advantage of, don't give them the ace. Just keep the ace of cards, give them everything else.
And look, the risk, I think, is part of life, and sometimes people behave certain ways that they damage trust and they
Mm-hmm.
remove trust, but it's the risk, you know. And maybe 9 out of 10 will do that, and then one will remain, and it will gain your entire trust, and that's more than enough than the 9 people that left.
Absolutely.
But Zeke, it's been a great pleasure talking to you. We have reached the end of the interview. I think you have a very sensitive approach, and I'm glad we connected, and I'm glad I met you on those events, and you decided to come to the show. I feel like a lot of people can relate to your story, and I hope they can use it as an
I hope so
inspiration
as well. Thank
for
you,
our
Gian.
viewers. And it's been a true honor, trust me. For our viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. Just keep on the lookout for the next episode, and this one as well with Zeke Sonnier. And for the future events, please make sure to hit the subscribe, thumbs up, and see you next time. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Awesome.
Zeke,
Thank
bro.
you, Guy.